While the winter weather has come later than normal, we have some tips on how to keep your plants safe in the cold weather. News 13's Hannah Huffstickler was at a local plant nursery and tells us more.
With the cold front coming in, it is hard for plants to acclimate to the weather, but there are a few things you can do to keep your plants healthy. Buddy Cox is the owner of Southland Nursery in Conway and explains why this weather is bad for plants if they have not adjusted to the cold.
Normally we would get a freeze or two in the low 30s, upper 20s, then warm, then freeze. But this 6 days of freeze and one of the nights is going to be down to around 20 degrees is very hard on a plant that's sitting above the ground out in the open.
He says they have been working around the clock since last week to make sure every plant is either in a greenhouse or covered. Cox explains some things you can do if you have plants outside.
Either move them in or cover them real well with a blanket. We cover ours with what we call a frost blanket. Changes the temperature under that blanket anywhere from 7 to 10 degrees and actually keeps the plants from freezing. The ground is warm underneath it, so the plants usually don't freeze under those blankets unless it gets down into teens, and even then it'll protect them.
Cox says if you have any indoor plants, you will have to water them more due to the house getting drier. But if you have any outdoor, tropical, or annual plants, you will need to bring them inside. He says they usually take plants to the greenhouse between mid-December to mid-January, but they had to start last week due to the rapid decline in weather.
There are several varieties of plants that we know that can be damaged, and we are getting those in the greenhouse, and the things that are more tolerable, we cover them with frost blanket. We usually have plenty of time to do this gradually. Now we're forced to have everybody that we have working, just be rushing and working to get plants in the greenhouse and get them covered.
Cox says winter is an excellent time to start planting and to keep a lot of moisture on the foliage to keep the plants from being damaged in the cold. In Conway, Hannah Huffstickler, News 13.